Okay, guys, so welcome back to another interview episode here. So today we have Luke Brinton on, who is in Salt Lake City,
Mhm,
and Luke's been in Tribe for a few years now, and joined originally because he was basically going to college, and he's a programmer, so very very analytical thinker, which
mhm,
a lot of guys who want to really level up their social skills. I mean, me included. I'm not a programmer, but I'm a super in my head like analytical guy.
mhm,
And so Luke is the same way. Decided to found my content and decided to jump in Tribe, and after joining, was able to basically solve all the kind of problems that he was looking to solve. So, Luke, we're gonna kind of go through your journey here and start off
mhm,
with like the lowest of the low point. Like, I know you mentioned, you really wanted like more like-minded friends, and then you, I guess, were struggling with sort of dating. So could you kind of paint the picture of what it was like when you were really at your lowest point, to relate to anyone listening that might be going through something similar, especially someone who's more of like a coder, analytical thinker.
yeah. Um, I think that the biggest pain point for me was letting the emotions just get to me, where I wasn't really in control of who I am. Like external things really controlled me. And as like a coder, you are you need to be like really resilient and just have, I think, in control of your surroundings. I think emotional intelligence is something that I've learned the most from Arlen. Just like not only how intelligent you are, but how you come off, I think is super important.
Mm.
And I think that with my analytical mind, um, I think I've always prioritized like logic over emotions.
So could you kind of paint the picture for someone listening? Like, I'm sure there's a lot of other people that'll click on this episode because they're also a programmer and they're very
Mhm,
analytical. So like, what could you sort of relate? Because you said that I did a good job of kind of laying out exactly where you were. So you were in college, you were programming, I guess behind this computer screen a lot, maybe had some family friends, but you really wanted more diverse friends. So what paint it like, what did it feel like before you were exposed to Tribe?
it was like dealing with the exact same um just kind of person over and over and over again. Um, just like I there wasn't really any uniqueness from the current friends I had. They all had similar beliefs. They all had, this belief in a, you know, kind of just higher power. And it was like I've wanted to have people who weren't doing the traditional path. I think that was the biggest reason why I wanted to join Tribe, was to, I think, get people on a just massive diverse scale of different ages, careers, self-employment, freelancing, photography, like all these kinds of careers, to really get the bigger picture of like, what should I do that I excel at, that these people can congratulate me on the journey. So
Okay. Yeah, it's really interesting the way that you described that. So you said that before Tribe, you were in a social setting where everyone was thinking the same. Or so obviously you're around a lot of other programmers. So there's just a lot of analytical people, and maybe people that were people were kind of on like the 9 to 5 job route in
mhm,
college. Yeah.
yes,
And then I guess you had your family friends that were maybe similar, like traditional thinkers.
yes,
But
yes.
you also mentioned that everyone was believing in a higher power. I mean, I believe in a higher power, of course, but you didn't grow up in like was it a very religious community as well?
Yes, Mormon.
Oh, you grew up in a Mormon. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, we've had
Yeah.
a bunch of guys from the Mormon community join Tribe, and yeah, I understand that the Mormon community can feel like a cult.
Yes. Yes. It's I mean, because I have no like harsh feelings to those kinds of people, but I think with just
I
like
don't know.
how my yeah, exactly. But with how my brain works, I'm just super creative, and like, just ideas just keep flowing in my head like nonstop. And to, I think, a more traditional like place, that's like frowned upon, and that's looked at something that you should not really think and like do, right? You should just go to college, work a job, and shut that brain off, which is
Yeah,
just terrible advice.
I know, man. Yeah, no, I don't know. Did you ever connect with? There's a guy named Daniel. I don't remember his last name. He was a African American guy who was also a
Mm,
Mormon that joined. Daniel Murray. Did you ever
mm.
connect?
I don't think so, but
I'll you guys on Instagram. Um, but yeah, that's so interesting, man. I mean, if you like remember week 1 of Tribe, the first video I talk about anti-cult thinking and
mhm.
like questioning everything and like thinking for yourself. So that sounds like that was something that you were really, really lacking, and you were really desiring people that were thinking outside of the traditional box that you were raised in.
Yes, exactly.
Wow. Okay. Okay. And how did you even come across the content?
I think it was I originally followed this creator by the name of Alex Zedlak, and I think he did a podcast with you.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, and I think that's how I got introduced to your content.
And so, okay, so you decided to jump inside Tribe. Um, well, before we even go through that, like
Mhm.
how would you describe the problems that you were having in your dating life, like meeting and talking to women before?
I would say that it was very it was like I was just missing shots over and over and over again. And I think that what I wasn't really aware of was that people love, I think, a certain kind of charisma. And I think that like I was relying on like the internet for like jokes and like, just like things that work for other people, but not really things that I was uniquely good at. So I think that for me, like dating was super harsh until I really, I think, started to express myself and not really care of what they thought.
Mm. So you were just like cycling through, you're the super analytical mind, reading like pickup lines or whatever, and just
Mhm.
miss. At least you were taking shots though.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, so you jumped inside Tribe. Do you remember around what month or year you jumped in?
I think it was spring of 2023. So maybe like March or April.
Okay, nice. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I remember when I did the podcast with Alex. Okay, and then what was it like when you joined in? Like the first touches of the experience as soon as you got in the community.
I think that it was super cool to experience, I think, friends and people from all over the world. Uh like I really connected with Julian, who's from Germany, and that was a really, I think, cool experience because I got to see other perspectives from different countries, which was something that, as a Mormon is very foreign to me because I've only been to like Mexico, right? So it really just gave me perspectives on like different forms of Christianity, which was something that I wasn't even aware of, right?
Wow. Wow. That's pretty profound. I mean, these are like side effects of Tribe that I don't really ever like advertise, but they're so profound. It's like, yeah, no, I mean, wow. Okay, very interesting. So it sounds like you really connected with a couple guys initially in the community from like a global perspective.
Mhm.
And you said you went through the course. So what was it like going through the course, if you remember?
Um, I remember basically I was working my 9 to 5, and I didn't really have a lot of time on my hands. So what I would do is I would download the courses and listen to while I was working. And it I think it really just um grounded me in like who I actually was.
So pretty quickly, you're obviously able to find like more global, diverse thinkers. So that solved that. And then as
Mhm.
far as like overall improving your charisma and like ability to communicate and talk to girls and stuff, how did the course specifically and training help you with that?
Yeah, so I think what I remember is that it's kind of like if you observe particles, they'll act in a certain way, but if you look away, they'll completely be different. So it's um I think the main thing is like
You're referring to when I talk about like quantum mechanics and stuff in week two.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
And how does that relate to talking to girls?
I think that in order to be charismatic, I think you have to be charismatic to an empty room of people, if that makes
Mm,
sense.
yes. You have to be able to just self entertain.
Yes, exactly.
Interesting.
Find your find your own jokes funny.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Because if you find it funny, it doesn't matter if no one else does because you're entertained. And then simultaneously, if you're entertained, they're likely going to feel that and respond the same.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's very interesting how your brain as like analytical person, that's kind of what clicked for you. Because that's actually a week 2 thing, but more of the charisma training is in week 5. But
Mm.
yeah, cool. Okay, and so what else? Like, did you ever do any of the week 3 stuff with like working on Instagram and kind of using Instagram as a tool?
Yes. So since I live in Utah, I live like a couple of hours away from Park City. So me and I think his name is Pang. We went to
Yeah,
Park
yeah.
City. Yeah, and we took a couple of photos, and yeah, that's the only photo I have on my Instagram.
You just use one. And do you feel like it's been effective?
Yeah, yeah, I think that um like I've always been like a numbers guy, and I think that's like I think really just like having like one picture and really being um a little bit mysterious kind of really plays into my analytical I think thinking.
Yeah. This is uh this is great. You definitely took notes. You definitely took your notes. Yeah, you've followed the minimum viable Instagram, as I call it in Tribe. That's beautiful. Yeah, you're not a guy that's going to be a content creator. You don't need to do that. You just need a very efficient system. And so I'm curious, like, do you have any anecdotes of how your Instagram has helped you with dating or networking with anyone?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think it's been really helpful for networking, um, and just really showing that just like I guess like who I am and how I think.
So if you were talking to somebody who was kind of on the fence about joining Tribe, and maybe they're also like a very analytical person, but they haven't pulled the trigger yet, what would you say to them?
I would say I think that a lesson that I've learned the most is that whenever you feel super uneasy about something and you're not really sure if it's going to pan out or work, you always have to do it, because I think the most memorable just experiences and things in my life has come when I had the most resistance towards it.
It's a good answer. I like it. Cool. What would you say is like the biggest lesson you've learned from the last couple years since you've been in Tribe that you feel like has helped you grow as an individual and improve your networking skills overall?
I feel like the most important thing is listen to the people who are living the lifestyle that you want, right? Because there's so much information out there. There's so many people that you can look up to, but it's hard to pick out who. And I think that if you want to be a travel hoe, you have to pick out people who are, you know, doing the things that you want to do, and that will make the learning experience a lot more entertaining and actually really help you with the goals you want to achieve.
Nice. Cool. All right. Well, that's really all the questions I have. Thanks for providing some insight there. And yeah, it's really great to hear your transformation.